You can test your speaker and microphone.
Yeah, I did all that shit.
There we go. I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Hey, imagine that. I got a super duper Yeti.
Yeti.
Hey, look at that.
Yeti.
So I gotta rock the fucking Indian shit. Look at you guys. Look at you got. What do you got? A peacock in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you got? Like, someone gonna swallow you?
Yeah, someone's gonna eat me up.
You gotta look. You must be the professional because you got. Do I have to hold the mic like this? Is that the whole situation?
No, you don't have to hold them like that.
Can you hear me okay? Am I modulating well enough? I have a very low voice. Should I turn it up higher or what?
Yeah, turn it a little bit more so we can hear you better.
How about now? How about now?
A little more.
Is there a place I can go? Hey, Mikey Motorcycle.
What's going on, man?
That's good. That's good.
Let's see if I can. Want to switch a different microphone or speaker? No, I don't. I don't know. This is
You kids with your things, always playing with the new gadgets. You poke your eye out.
I used to love that guy. You know?
Yeah, we can hear you better now.
Okay, well, I'm screaming. How about now? I could romance you. Well, I want to be in a position where you can hear me because I don't know what to do to make that the situation. Where do I go to make my volume output bigger? Check. Well, I see I got. Can I go to like some? I got a button that says I should. I'm turning it as though it should increase, but it does not. So I'll just hug it.
There you go. That's better. We can hear you pretty good from here.
Okay, I can hear kindergarten. Okay.
It was quiet.
Yeah, it was pretty quiet.
That's cool, man. That's all beautiful.
How you been, man?
I've been good. Are we on? Are we?
Yeah, we're on. We're good.
Prerequisite situation.
Yeah, we're good.
Start.
We're starting.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
It's
You
pretty
picked
scary.
your nose right there on camera. That's weird.
I know.
Do you see him, Mike? Do you see him pick his nose?
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, so he doesn't feel like a real
Just the camera
retard. But
angle
that's
was
a
bad.
terrible word, but no, that's what I said. Let's all pick our nose together so that we don't make it feel bad.
Solidarity. There you go.
Solidarity. Come on, Mike, pick your fucking nose.
All right.
There we go. All right. So how you big boys doing?
Doing good, man. Just staying at home, right? Not doing much.
Yeah.
Working from home. Everything from home.
Not me. You know what's changed for me? Nothing.
Have you been working?
I mean, well, no, I don't always work because I'm an actor. And, we're just beggars. We don't work. No, I haven't been. I've been doing some online coaching and that kind of thing. But no, luckily for me, I live in the tropics. And because of that, there's a lot of diversions. And when I want to escape my house, I go to Walmart or the grocery store.
Right.
And I haven't been fanatic about the coronavirus. My children are both at college. My son's in EMT. My daughter was asked to leave UCF and her dorm, and there were no concessions made, so I had to pay for 3 months of a lease and or be penalized by it. And then she was told that she has to do the remaining courses online. And I said, well, fucking where's my rebate, man? If you're going to teach yourself, I shouldn't pay the same premium to no avail. So I also have some rental property, and a few of my tenants weren't able to pay for their rent. And so there's a mandate in Florida that they get a 3-month leeway. So then it's up to me to go to small claims court and see if I can recoup that. But the odds of that happening are unlikely. And these folks, for the most part, aren't that concerned over their credit history, especially when it lies here. So I think it's very unfair to a variety of people. My mortgage, luckily, my wife is do you care about the long end of the story? Or is this about killing time, or do you want a short answer?
Yeah, just go ahead and let it rip.
Thank you.
That too.
So my wife's a teacher, so she was doing the online, classes, meetings with her kids and all of that. So I had a source of income coming in, but I wasn't sure, and so I contacted my mortgage people, Bank of America. And I said, listen, it makes perfect sense since I've been mandated to shut down a variety of things and there are people in worse straits than I. Why don't you automatically just move the fucking payments to the back end of my mortgage? Well, sir, we really can't. Well, can you put in that that's what I would like to do? Best we could do right now is just, afford you no penalties, late fees and stuff. You still owe that money. Yeah, I intend to pay it. So there I am. I called my land people, my tenants, and I said, listen, I'm a human and I understand where you may be. And I'm in the same place because I have to use your money to pay for the mortgages on those. And is there a way that we can meet each other in the middle and you can give me some sort of partial payment? And they were like, no. So you scared me half to death. There it is. And I think we're in a financial place where the recovery is way off, and then we can get into the riots, and who knows what do we want to do? What is the point of this?
Can you tell them a little about yourself? How
Yes,
you got
I was
started
born
in
a poor
acting and all
black
that?
child in Alabama. That's from a movie. It's not racist. How I got started in the movie was by accident. Hi, am I supposed to say who I am and all that?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Antoni Corone. I'm on the Diarrhea of the Mouth contest, and I'm here with my friend Red and my other friend Mike. And they're more entertaining when they're together with each other. They're not, but woe's me. So I'm an actor, supposedly. And I'm a type at most. I'm also an activist. I have an anti-bullying organization and a page that I run, and I did a short and won an award for. So I got started in my acting career because I was a lifeguard on the beach and I was watching Porky's tube be shot. It was disruptive, actually. And everybody said, oh my God, they're shooting a movie. Why don't you go see? And I say, that's it, actors. So a friend had a place that they used as a holding area. And he said, listen, there's going to be a bunch of girls in bikinis here all night long. You might want to come by because I'm feeding them all hamburgers and stuff. So I did. And I walked on to the set, I was a little buzzed. And I was told, you have to leave. Can't stand here. Why? Because we were in the shot. Yeah, whatever the hell that means.
Right.
Yeah, but you're in the shot. What is it means you can't. Look, if you want to watch, you can watch from over here. Okay. Yeah. So is this a real movie one that I'd have to pay? Yeah, sure. Really. And those people there, well, those are the stars. Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? I could do that shit. No, okay, can I be in your movie? So I think just to get rid of me, they said, yeah, come back tomorrow. You could be an extra. So I did. And there was a whole wardrobe makeup thing. And we were supposed to be in this elegant dining thing. I don't know how to further bore you with it, but I had very long hair. I was Tarzan. And I was told that I needed to go to hair and makeup, and I was kind of the first one. I broke every single rule there was. I'm serious. Really, really broke. I was flirting with people. I was walking around with no shirt. Some guy comes up to me, probably in his 50s. I was in my 20s, Tarzan, and he goes, hey, kid, why don't you put a shirt on? I go, hey, Pops, why don't you go fuck yourself? So that was me, an angry little man. And I still am to some degree. And so when I went to get in line, they said, and I heard, whoa, what's up? They said, we have to cut your hair. Oh, wow, really? Why? Well, it's a period piece, it takes place in the 50s. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to look like Opie for the next 4 months or something. And I remember my father being disappointed that I didn't get a crew cut in high school in 1973 to play ball. Broke his heart, really. And I said, maybe I'm not going to make this mistake again. So I went into the bathroom with a comb and I combed my hair like, this is an age me kind of thing. A guy named Kooky lend me your comb. He used to comb his hair all the time on Route 66. And I combed it over and ducktailed it back and went to another side of the makeup place. And guess what? By the way, the guy that I said, go fuck yourself, Pop, he was the hair guy. And, you know, he was like, either you're in the movie or you're not. You want your hair done or you don't. Somebody behind me goes, yeah, me too. I'm on first refusal for a modeling gig. And he's like, okay, bye. I was like, oh, hey, oh, okay, hold on. So I went to the other side of this big auditorium, which held like 100 people. And there was a woman there. And she said, wow, so who did your hair? He did. Really? Yeah. Well, that's amazing. I can't believe that. What? Here, let's fix this. She sprayed the shit out of that. Bobby pinned it up, and I ended up being a stunt guy. And then she was chastised because you shouldn't have a stunt guy fall down on the ground with bobby pins because it may stick him in his brain. And long story short, they decided that at some point they wanted to do an unscripted stunt where these waiters walk in and collide with each other. So they said, when I went back in, they said, okay, so look, this was supposed to be a 3-day shoot. Now, this is a long ass story. Are you sure?
Oh no, it's entertaining as hell, man. Keep
Yeah,
going.
definitely keep going.
Yeah, this is a long ass story. You sure you want to tell it? Sure. All right, if you want to. I'm just a guest here. I don't know. So they said it's a 5-day shoot, and it was 3. And if anyone can't be here for the entire duration of that, please let us know. So a couple guys raised their hands. Okay. And you are? Oh, I was a waiter, the guy says. Okay, what size jacket do you wear? 38. And I just didn't even wait. I just stood up, walked over, took their jacket, put it on. I go, yeah, I wear 38 and I'm a waiter. And they went, oh, well, that's not how the protocol goes. You're that dangerous guy. They told the makeup guy to go fuck himself, aren't you? Yeah, I kind of am. So every extra that I wanted to talk to reacted as though I was a leper. They just turned their heads and go, I hope he goes away. Please make him go away. So I ended up being upgraded. Oh, well, I guess if that's really a waiter, yeah. Okay, well, cool. I guess you're a waiter then. So now I went from being a 35% or $35 extra to a $50 special extra. And so now there were people who were like little ferrets in their little trenches. Oh, who's he? That's the jerk. Look what happened. Look what he did. So they'd come closer to me. They were still skittish, though, you know. So I tried to flirt with them and made a little penis out of a linen napkin and wagged it at them. And it was terrible. Just terrible. But I was so amused by the whole thing. Everyone was so trained, like, right? So they said, okay, so listen, you're the waiter. Good, thank you. And so what we're thinking of doing is having 2 waiters. Can you spin a tray or anything? I mean, can you hold a tray? And I'm like, can I hold a tray? And I could spin it. I could flip it. I hold it in zing, zing, like I was in the circus. Yeah, is that enough? Do we got it? Yeah. Cool. Can you carry? Yeah, my God, what? So we want you to collide with this other. Can you fall down? Can you fall down on the floor? Sure. Let's see. Blam. Marble floor, no pads. Can you do it again? Blam. And can you do it again? Yeah, I can do it all fucking day. What's the point, man? Well, we would like to know if you could do it with a full tray. Look, if I could do it without a tray, I could do it with a tray. Yeah. So what's it do? Well, what we're thinking about is you're looking at this girl who's coming down with, she's got these big breasts and she's being obnoxious and they're loaded with some fake puke and she's going to embarrass the commissioner and pour them into this fountain. And we just need you to collide with the waiter. We're going to get the reactions of the cello player going, ooh, and the waiters colliding to further things. So can you do that? Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, so they do. And meantime, there's a lady sitting next to me, and she goes, "Wow, you're very lucky, man. You can get upgraded for that." And I'm like, well, I don't know what that is, but thank you. And in my course of being a waiter, I walk over to a table, like to be as though I was taking their order, and I have somebody tap me on the ass, and I turn around and say, "Excuse me. Could you move?" Yeah. And so I would move to another table and take their order and, "Excuse me, could you move?" And so finally I looked at both of them like, "Whoa, what's up with that?" "Well, you see the camera's over there and you're blocking us and we can't really see. My mom and my kids won't be able to see me. So if you move, then you would clear the line of the..." And I said, "Look, what are you guys, actors?" "Yeah, we're actors." "Well, I'm not. I'm a fucking waiter. And I'll tell you what, in real life, if you wanted to see something, stand the fuck up and look around me." "Could I do that?" "Look, I don't know." So now I became like, hey, can you want to do some business with me? And I saw where the camera was going. I was intuitive, perhaps. I don't know. And I said, oh, the camera's going to aim that way. So let me walk over to the maitre d' with my check. Like, yeah, this guy doesn't want to pay. Can you on it? And so everybody was saying, hey, let's do something together. So that's, and I went, man, these people are lemmings. Oh my gosh. So the time came for us to do it again. And the lady goes, how you doing? And now all the extras who were little lemmings going, ooh, this guy's interesting. They wanted to talk to me. They wanted to know what my name was and who my representatives were. And I said, I have none. What? That's not fair. You just fell off the Apple truck and you're a waiter? And now you get to do things? And I said, I guess. I don't know. I asked the lady, hey, you know, my elbow by that time was as big as a grapefruit. I was really swollen and sore. And I don't know how many more times I could land without really fucking myself up. Can I say fuck?
Yeah.
You can say fuck.
Fuck, 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 fuck it up, fuck, 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 fuck it up, fuck, fuck, fuck.
Mike, you know, you don't laugh as much on this camera as you do in person. Right? Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah. I'm just listening, man.
Okay, bro. So she said, no, there's stunt guys over there. I'm sure they're very nice. Why don't you go ask them if they have a pad that you could use? And I said, oh, really? And there, sure enough, were 4 guys. They had their baseball caps on, man. They're all crossed like this. They had their cowboy boots on and belt buckle. They're staring at me just like it's here. And I got my little ponytail thing, my little fucking bow tie. Hi, I'm the waiter, and my elbow hurts very much. And I was wondering if you just have a pad that maybe I could use. And they didn't even look at me. You're a fucking asshole.
Oh, man.
Wow, really? I'm an asshole? Why am I an asshole? Because we're stunt guys, man. We came here to do this thing, and you were doing it. And I went, really? I didn't suck this guy's dick to do it. He said, hey, do you want to do it? So it's not my bad, you know? And he goes, well, this is a union show and you're a non-union actor. I said, yeah, whatever. So they called SAG. Now SAG had to pay a penalty. Uh-oh, Dad, go ahead.
I don't know, V. You gotta go.
Oh, she might want to hear my story.
She wants the remote.
Oh, give it to her. Spoiler. Bite you in the ass when she's 18, but do it.
Oh, man, we got to get into some of that.
We're going to. So, and I'm going to be done very, very quickly. So, yeah, that's what happened. I fell down. They said, listen, when you're, we're going to hit real glass. And if you're cut, let us know and we'll immediately tend to you. And if you're not, just lay still. We'll sweep the glass away and you can get up. Are you ready? And so, yes, they very quickly swung the camera away so that everybody the crowd was behind the camera and they were shooting forward. And SAG had already been called and they couldn't back out of it. So they said action and smash, crash, bash. There was glass everywhere. And I laid there like I was instructed to. And Bob Clark, the wonderfully gifted Bob Clark, who directed it, and Turk 182, he said, my nickname is Skip. So I went by Skip because I had no idea I was going to be professional enough to be Antoni. Antoni, like yes, with a T, not a Th. Because some French chick that I met, what's your name? Skip. Skip. Quoi? Skip. And I guess French people don't hear those consonants in that alignment. So my name might as well have been.
Yes.
What is your real name? And I said, Antoni. Oh, I will call you Antoni. And I said, oh, that's so exciting. So that's how Antoni became, and I will bore you with that too. But so, yeah, long story short, I do the thing, and the guy says, cut, and are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. No, really. No, really. No, really. If you're okay. Yes, I'm fine. Okay. I haven't moved. I'm still laying on the ground flat. And he says, well, if you're so okay, what was that dazed look when your head hit the cement there? I got up on one elbow and I went, active motherfucker. Oh, and everybody cheered. And he said, all right, hot shot, you got your card. And I said, I didn't know what you're talking about. And I was able to be in the Screen Actors Guild and apply for it with my first 2 hours on my very first set. So I became the, hey, we need an asshole. Oh, I got just the guy for you. And that's that. That's how that all started. And so I, just followed through. And back in the day in Florida, there was not a lot of competition and there were a lot of people coming on location. I was terrible at being over the top with commercials, but I seemed to book a real lot. And so I was bouncer number 1, bad cop number 2, and so on and so on. And so that's how I started. I don't know. Thanks for listening.
What's some of the jobs that you held early on in your career outside of acting?
Oh, well, let's see. I had a paper route, and I had a shoe shine stand. What? How the fuck old are you, boy? Shoe shine? Who the fuck does shoe shine? Yeah, I was a shoe shine guy at a barbershop. And a guy came in with Court of On wingtips, and they were all full of mud and cement and shit. And I said, "You like me to do your shoes, sir?" "Yeah." And the barber goes, "Let him." So I took a toothpick and pulled all this shit. I was very meticulous, and I shined his shoes like brand spanking. And he goes, "How much is it?" And I said, I don't know, whatever it's worth. And the guy gave me like $1. And the barber said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He gave me $10 and he said, "Get the fuck out of my shop," and kicked the guy out. I found out that the guy knew my dad, the barber did, and it was, one of those, yeah, don't be disrespectful. And then my paper route, hey, by the way, could you imagine any mommy letting any kid get up in middle school, before school, to walk the streets all by himself and then go out and collect money from strangers and knock on their door for 25 cents? What do you mean you don't have 25? Can you come back? Sure, I got nothing fucking better to do. I'll come back at 25 for 25 cents tomorrow. And so that I had 2 of them, carried them over my shoulder, boom, 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 through the snow, in the rain, whatever. And then I was a carpenter. And I wasn't very patient, and I was a pizza delivery guy, and then I was a doughboy, and then I was worked at a golf course as a pro shops assistant, where at 12 or 13, because there were no, you got to be 16 or 18 to work stuff, I was responsible to make sure all the golf carts were charged and that the clubs were clean and they were all in line for who went out. And I was making $200 a week in fucking 1960 something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I said, "Oh, wow." And my dad at supper said, "How much you making, son? You're working, you're working 12 hours a day every day, except for Wednesday." "Yeah, let's do the math." It was like 50 cents an hour or something. But it was freedom, and it was the summer. So that's what I did. And then I was a lifeguard. And then I came to Florida, and I was a rough carpenter. And then a hurricane came, and then I lied my way into the waiter's job. Oh, my God, that's a wonderful story. Oh, I wish I had time to tell you that one. I could do a short version. You want to hear it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm tired of looking at you. Can you switch the screen so I can see you, Red?
You can't see Red?
Oh,
No, I can see him up in the thumbnail.
You could
gotta
switch
the
that in the
screen?
top right where it says
What do I do?
speaker view.
Oh, man, I got to put glasses on and fuck me.
Oh, great. Let's see that.
there we
You
go.
know what? Where do I hit, Sonny?
Speaker view.
Speaker view. Boom, there it is. Thank you. Okay. What was I going to tell you about?
The waiter's job, I think.
Oh, yeah, very quick waiter story. So I lied my way to be a waiter. I went to this place called Vincent's on the Water. Vincent's on the Water was in the middle of a place where the pagans, much like the Hells Angels, lived nearby, and they frequented the place. And one of them had died, and there was a funeral. And I told the guy that I was a waiter, and he said, "Okay, cool." So, "Oh, look, here comes 4 pagans. 2 couples, and you can wait on that table there." Okay, so I went over to the table. "Hi, how you doing? I'm Skip, your waiter. And here's, I don't give a fuck what your menu. Like, bring us 4 beers. I want a Corona. My friend wants a Corona, and these cunts want fucking Heinekens."
Oh, shit.
Right? And so
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, "Oh." So I went back, and the guy goes, "Oh, what do you got?" You go, "Wait, you forgot the glasses." "Oh, okay." So I brought glasses, and he goes, "And you got to pour. You pour from the right." So I poured for the ladies from the right, and then I went to pour from the guys, and the guy grabbed my hand. He goes, what are you, fucking smartass? What are you talking about?" "Pour my fucking beer. Get these glasses out of here." And by the time I left, he went, "Oh, asshole, we're ready to order, and we want 2 more beers." And I said, "Okay, what would you like to have, sir?" "Okay, listen carefully. We're going to have 4 lobsters. Me and my friend here, we want ours broiled with an R. That's with fire. And the cunts, they want theirs boiled with an O." That's right. You write it down? "Oh, Yes, sir. 2 broiled and 2 boiled. Very nice. And 2 and more beers. So boom, I go back. The kitchen says, "Oh, lobsters! Oh my God! Well, there's a whole protocol that has to happen. You have to have a doily, and you have to have a liner, and you have to have a dish, and you got to have the bibs, and you got to have all these things. And go, 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 go!" So I'm, big table, lobsters. So I went out and I tied the bib around the girl. I tied a bib around the other girl. Of course, went to tie a bib around Buck. And Buck didn't like it. Again, thought I was being a smartass. Fucking, I don't need a fucking bib. So we go through all the thing. I bring them finally their lobsters. I put it down. Hey, asshole, bring us some more beers. I give them the more beers. And then I leave and I think I have everything. Do you have the ramekin full of drawn butter? I have all that shit. And then he says, hey, asshole. And I'm like, now by this time, I'm over this, right? So, yes, sir. Why don't you bring some crackers? Oh, okay. I go back. What's up? Well, they want crackers. Oh, fuck yeah, crackers. So here, you take this little basket, right? And you put these Melba toasts over here and these saltines over here. And these little breadsticks over here and go, 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 go. I take, okay, need another beer? No, we're cool. I walked away and then here's the guy. Hey, asshole. Motherfucker. And this is great. I turn around, he's got a saltine in his palm and a lobster claw on top of his saltine and a saltine in this hand. And he's going, not these kind of crackers, asshole. Crumbs are flying all over. And I couldn't stop laughing. So anyway, I got fired. But they gave me like a $200 tip. They said, you're the most entertaining thing that's happened to us in a long time. And so then from the experience I got from that, I went to another one and da-da-da. And then I became a maitre d' and flambe captain. And then I got out of that because somebody was impatient that he didn't have his table ready at exactly 8:15, and he was a doctor. And he called me an asshole, that he made a reservation. And I said, sir, I am never been to your office, but you're a doctor. Yes, yes. And I've made doctor's appointments at 8:15. I sat on my fucking ass for 45 minutes. I didn't say it like that, but on the inside. And he said, well, I know the owner. And I said, okay, well, sure. I don't have your table ready, sir. It's there, but it's not ready. What about that table? Well, that guy comes in all the time. So I got fired from that job because the guy said, that was my friend, Dr. Smith. And you didn't see him immediately. And I said, well, look, bro, if you don't write down in the book or tell me, hey, Dr. Smith's coming, he's a VIP, make sure you treat him right. He's just another fucking jag-off to me. And I am allowed 5 minutes leeway. And the guy was seated 10 minutes after his reservation. And he arrived 20 minutes earlier. And he didn't want to sit at the bar. And he didn't want to sit at the bench. And he was just a fucking asshole. So go fuck yourself. And that was the last time I was in a restaurant. Business.
Jesus, man.
Wow.
I'm a terrible guy, aren't I? I just, I'm like Linus or Pigpen. Which one?
There's something about it, though. Like having that quality, you experience more out of life. It seems like you get put in these certain situations where other boring people just don't.
I don't know if that's why. I'm not sure, but I could tell stories on a podcast. Well, that's for sure. That's for goddamn sure. So, now what do you want to do?
Who's the favorite director you work with? Who's your favorite director that you actually worked with the last few years?
Oh man, high profile would be James Gray. James Gray is a brilliant man. James Gray directed The Immigrant and We Own the Night, and the pilot that I did for Sundance called The Red Road. And Ed Astra and he did Two Lovers, and he did The Yards, and he did Little Odessa. And this guy is really, he said, hey, what I wrote is shit. Let's see, make it your own. Okay, let's do it as scripted. Why are you saying this? And a great story for him is one that I don't know if I could tell, but ultimately the cast changed in We Own the Night, a wonderful movie. I'm very proud of it. And he said, so the dynamic of your character has changed now. And I want to know who your character is relative to these new components. And I came up with a very clever answer, and he went, great, that's good. We'll go with that. And he's used me 3 times. And so I appreciate him because he keeps you honest. He can sense your tell. If you're not true, man, he gets it. Most favorite as far as the celebrity type would probably be Sidney Pollack. And that was also one of the most difficult because he would shoot everything that happened on the master. and then you would come in and come in and come in. So if you were a bartender, let's just say, and you had 3 different scenes during the course of the movie, and that was the set right there, you would do the master of the first, hey Bob, what are you doing? Gee Bob, I'm sorry I lost your wife, in the second, and whatever else you want to be in the third, all as a master. And then you would come in, and then you'd have to go back and match what you did on the first on the coverage. So luckily he had a camera on a loop so you could see what you had done before. Carl Franklin in Out of Time did the same thing. During your rehearsal, he would run the final rehearsal as on a loop so you could see what you did and where you exactly were. And then also now with digital stuff, they could actually pull up, you know, did I have my hand to my right? Yeah, sure you did. Look, here it is. Okay, cool. So, and then a couple episodics. I have never had an issue with anyone that I didn't like except on a novella one time. And that was just because the lady came in and she goes, okay, you're going to be sitting down right here and where the camera's going to be, oh, how do you know if I'm going to finally be sitting down? Well, because that's what we were deciding. And I said, well, how can you decide that without my input? I just got out of prison. I haven't seen my daughter in like 10 years. And this is the first time I'm going to be here. I'm going to sit down through the whole scene. I'm going to stand up and hug her. Big fucking argument ensued. I almost got fired. I had to have a producers meeting. They said, oh my God, you really, you know, can you? I said, so it was adversarial. It was, I didn't respect them at all. I just like, yeah, what do you want me to stand? Where do you want me to look? How do you want me to say? Go fuck yourself. Sadly. So I wasn't a team player. Maybe that's not why I'm not a big star. I'm not even a solar system. I'm not even a comet. Not even a moon.
But what do you think makes a good character actor?
Being ugly. You'd be a good one. Both of you guys be good. Whoa,
Thanks. I'll have to give it a try.
You should give it a try. I think what makes a good character actor is your ability, first of all, makes anybody a good actor, is your ability to understand why somebody wrote this and why that scene is important to the story. To me, it's kind of intuitive. Sometimes I'm wrong, but I get lucky often. And once you get that and you understand what that thing you're doing is, then my method is, I'm not, Stanislavski. I don't live in the method moment. What I do is I try to emulate what I've seen on TV already in the same scenario. Oh, I get what they want. They want somebody to be sad right here. Oh, they want somebody to be sarcastic right there. And I think my ability to be malleable, I mean, I got a ton ever since I was a kid. I can do 1 million accents. I mean, 1 million of them. Not a lot, not 100, not 1,000 million, but enough relative to whatever. And because I have this ear, I always could hear it. And I have a keyword for every one of them. So if I wanted to be Irish, that word is church. Church. Always after me like a chance, There's a little to it. You got to go here and there and everywhere else. And I had a grandfather who was Irish. God bless his soul. And then there's a whole way that the articles of the preposition have to come before and or after. I don't know. And there's a little roll to it. And then if it's so on and on and on. So I can do that with a variety of things. And I used to get away with it as a Hispanic man, to try to be Hispanic, when this fucking Tony Montana thing. And there was a guy that I was a waiter, and in the very first time I went to pour some wine, they had very, very long stems, and I knocked the glass over. And the guy came up to me, and he was like a Tasmanian devil, and he spoke that his tongue, that the esters came out of both sides of his mouth, and he was all angry. And he says, no brain surgery. It's a simple glass. You pour the wine, and I couldn't hear a word he was fucking saying. I'm staring at the guy's mouth going, oh, fuck, I could do this guy. So I've just been there. And my kids can all do voices. When my kids were younger, my daughter especially, because she was so fragile, just because she was a child and a woman. And when my son was bad, I was like Foghorn Leghorn. God damn it, boy, what the hell's wrong with you? Why you make me so mad? And you go, I'm sorry, Dad, I don't know, right? With my daughter, I had to take a whole nother tech. Darling, why do you break your father's heart so much? because Father, you don't understand where we are. So this went on, and they could do all these voices. And the first time we went out of the state, we went to North Carolina to my dad's Rodanthe mansion-y kind of retirement. Let's have the whole family stay in one house. And we were in the car the whole time, and we went to get breakfast somewhere at the hotel. And this chick comes up to me, and she was like Fern from Diner, popping her gum. All right, we got Chris, we got this. And they both looked like, and they both looked at each other, and they both looked at me, and they went, hillbilly. Well, we gonna. I was like, I'm sorry, man. They were like 6 and 8. You know?
Oh,
I'm
shit.
sorry, they just never saw anybody with a voice like yours, and so I think that's it. Just to be able to become something different than who I am. Nuanced. Now, my kids and people who know me will say, yeah, I didn't buy you in that movie, man. You were acting. Well, because you know me, and you know that's not what my voice is, and you know that's what, you know, whatever. But to a stranger who doesn't, I also tried to dress differently. I realized that I needed to have a reel, and that in day player world, which was what Florida was, you only get, you know, so many lines. So every time I did a part, I would try to have a different voice or a different look. One time I played a police guy in a movie that I was very proud of, also called Somebody's Got to Shoot the Picture. Arliss Howard and Roy Scheider and Bonnie Bedelia. It was an HBO film. And I was pretty jacked and pretty buff, but I felt like I wanted to be sloppy, like a little pig-like. So I wore pants that were a little too tight for me and a shirt that was too tight for me, and I cinched my pants up so I felt like a blob of shit. Right. And on other movies, I've dressed with real loose clothes, so I felt like I just flow. Sometimes I've worn shoes that were a little too tight for me, so I walk differently. By the way, Fred Sanford's shuffle was because they weighted his shoes down. I don't know if you ever knew that, but that's what they did to Red Fox. So that's how I do it. I don't know. And I get away with it. But I think it all boils down to who you're connected to or not. And I don't have a big agent. I have a boutique agent. So let's say We Own the Night. These guys are making $5 million a piece. Bobby D and Walk and Mark and Ava, and I was making scale. I was happy as hell to be making scale. But if I had a bigger agency, the next movie I did with them, with that Joaquin invited me in on, was Reservation Road, not to be confused with Revolutionary Road. And I said to my agent, okay, went through all the protocol, met with Terry George. We had a great meeting. I had to do the casting. Then they said, okay, they're going to offer you scale. And I said to my agent, I said, are you fucking kidding me, man? So if I was with William Morris, they'd hang up on him. And they said, look, it's not up to me, it's up to you. You need to decide whether or not you want to be a scale player or not. And I said, well, no, I think it's kind of up to you. You need to decide when you print your key in your little office that this is the little bullshit stable that you want to have. Like, do you want to be bigger than that, or do you not want to be bigger than that? And so they said, well, again, it's your call. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it, because it was Mark Ruffalo, it was Joaquin, it was Mira Sorvino, it was Terry George, it was Dakota Fanning's sister. There was like a whole A-list, New York Times #1 best-selling book. I was a barracks police investigator. I'm not going to tell you what the story was. And it had the producers from Requiem for a Dream, and it had producers from Natural Born Killers, and it got only 10 theaters and was out in 10 days. Because it was such a morose story. So the next time I said, I took into heart, and it was I Love You, Phillip Morris. And this was a local thing, and they wanted somebody who had a great sense of ethos, and they wanted a star name, and he needed to have comedic timing. And no one believed that I could do comedy. So my agent was a big fan of mine, and she urged them to see me. And then I went in with a Texas accent the whole time. Hey, man, I don't know. I'm sorry I lost you. I'm sorry I'm tardy, and fucking GPS lied to me and all that shit. And I went through the whole entire conversation, left, and they called me back, and I walked in, and they said, we love you. And I said, great, but I'm not from Texas. I said it with a normal voice, and I thought they were going to fire me. And they didn't. But there was a dialogue coach that was Jim's dialogue coach on that show. And she said to me, what part of Texas you from? And I said, I'm not. She goes, wow, you got that down great. I don't know how, but it's from watching cartoons and listening. I listened to a lot of NPR. I listened to a lot. And when I did, by the way, when I did that, I had just watched for the very, very first time, I never heard of Matthew McConaughey, and I watched We Are Marshall. And I watched it 8 times in a row, and I went, this motherfucker, holy shit. And he did all these gesticulating, had this accent going on, and it turned out to be my line that I stuck with was, "It's big business, powerful business." So I said business instead of business, powerful instead of powerful, and I had this whole lip thing going. I was saying, "Yeah," I had this George Bush going thing. So it was a cross between those two guys, and that's how I became this guy named Dan Lindholm in that movie. Still me, but whatever. I'm sure I'm boring the fuck out of y'all.
No, man.
Oh, it's great stories, man. You worked with a few times with Jim Carrey, haven't you? I love you, Phillip.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. First time was Ace Ventura,
Oh, nice.
and and then the Truman Show, and then Phillip Morris. And Jim is a wonderful fucking man. I know every actor is supposed to say that about every actor, and I'm telling you that this guy is so beautiful. So, we knew who he was from In Living Color, and I was a reporter who was supposed to cajole him about not knowing where Snowflake was. Snowflake being the dome. Come on, Roger, where's Snowflake? We need a shot of him for the evening. And Jim comes out. What do you know about the dolphin? Do you have the dolphin fin? And he was just this crazy guy, and it was the first time I couldn't look anybody in the eye. He fucked me up. I mean, seriously, he was so unbelievably immersed into this thing. His veins were popping out. His head had like, and I don't know. I was mesmerized. I wasn't going to crack up. I was just in awe of how immersed he was. So I had to look above his eyes at his forehead to maintain, whatever the integrity was, right? So then with I Love You, with the Truman Show, I was a security guard that he decides at some point, wow, I'm going to something's up and I'm going to shoot into this building without anyone knowing it. And there's two security guards that catch him and try to throw him out. So he recognizes me from Ace Ventura. And we see each other and he's like, "Hey, the reporter? Yeah. How you doing, man?" "Oh," he goes, "I'm doing great. I'm really blessed." I go, "You fucking sure are. $20 million for a movie?" He goes, "Well, I'm lucky, man." And he goes, "So, I said, I'm going to try to throw you out." He goes, "Well, I'm telling you, I'm pretty strong. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to work for it." I go, "Oh, that's cool. No problem." So just before lunch, him and Peter Weir, the director, were deciding what the next setup was going to be. And it was going to be Jim deciding that he's going to come out in the street, in the middle of the street where this bus is going down the main thoroughfare, and he's going to stop the bus and he's going to alter his thing. So they have the discussion, and I'm sitting by myself at a table, maybe, I don't know, 100 yards away, watching by accident. And Peter Weir leaves, and then Jim decides he's going to do some practices. So he walks across the street, and he does a furtive look left and right, and then he runs in a Johnny Cleese kind of way. Nah, he just wasn't happy with that. And then he tried another version of it, and he wasn't happy with that. This whole process went on for about 10 minutes. And then finally, he just stopped, put his arms out like this, and turned around and like stopped everything, and then bolted into there. And then he decided that's what he liked. And I went, wow, I got to see the whole process. And when he came out of the building, he saw me again. And I said, "Hey, man, I've got, my kids are big fans and my nephews. And do you mind could you sign my call sheet so I could give it to one of them as a Christmas present?" And he said, "Yeah, I normally don't want to do that kind of stuff, but if you keep it, low, I'll sign this one and another one for your kids." So, and it was great. Truman Show. I said, "Hey, man, if you had anything to do with this." He goes, "No, I didn't." So on the Truman Show, I said, "Jim, I'm in this position where I'm not really happy with where I'm at in life, and maybe I need a bigger rep." And I was kind of asking him, maybe you could possibly tell me you talk to whatever, clandestine way. And I had done that also with on Matt Modine on a movie, and Matt was I could do, man. Go, "Oh yeah, bro. You know what you need to do? You need to put on a play in your garage for free every night, and all the people in the neighborhood will come by and watch it, and then eventually the news will catch it, and helicopters will be over, and an agent will." Yeah, you're about as wacky as fucking Jeff Goldblum. God bless you. I love you all both, you know, I know I'm on public there. So Jim says, I'm going to tell you, you're exactly where you need to be right now. You are in an A-list movie. You have, it was up to somebody else that they wanted, and they went with you, and you're holding your own. You're doing a fucking kick-ass job, and just believe in what needs to be. And he goes, not in a Jesus kind of way, but in a spiritual way. You got to ask the universe for you. And he said, and he told me the story. It's a pretty famous story. That one time when he was before In Living Color, he was sitting on his van in the mountains looking over Mulholland or something, and he said to the universe, I'm going to be the most successful comedian in the United States, and I'm going to make $20 million in a movie one day. And his father was his hero. His father was way more talented than he was, according to Jim. So he said he ended up getting Dumb and Dumber, I think, and that was the 20 million movie, or maybe it was the Truman Show. I think it was Dumb and Dumber. But he said, so I just asked for it, and it came to me. And I carried a check that I wrote to myself for $20 million in my wallet, period. And just before my dad died, I can't remember which, I got Dumb and Dumber and I made 20 million. And I put the check in my dad's casket. Just believe in the universe, bro. It's all going to be how it's going to be. And that was that. And then I told my kids, I'm going to work with your favorite actor. Who's your favorite actor? Jim Carrey. I mean, you, Dad, but Jim Carrey. Because I wanted to put him in a headlock. It made sense in this one scene. Whatever. And I did this great scene where he was gay and I didn't know he was gay, and I was this sex astronaut and I was very butch. We were standing over this balcony and I was looking at a satellite and I was teary-eyed because I never did get to go up NASA, real political place. It's just satellite reaching out to touch the hand of God. But he catches me, right? And so I feel embarrassed. But he he's got a whole nother to go out, and he comes to see me, and the prop guy goes, what do you want? What kind of prop do you want? I said, well, I think I'd have a bourbon and rocks glass. Jim, what do you want? Jim goes, I'd have a flute, champagne. Cool. So I bring it to us. We're standing on the balcony, and it's a one-up show for me. I found out by working with A-list guys that sometimes they don't even like each other, but they need to steal that edit. They need to steal the coverage. It's a competition of sorts. And if you saw Tropic Thunder, it's a perfect example of who was in it.
Ben Stiller and
Robert Downey Jr.
Both of them in that scene where he could cry at will, and he just had it all, and Stiller was trying very hard not to, to compete with him. So I've seen it like that. So I wanted to do a similar deal. So I decided that I was going to, well, come on, let's go back inside and see the little lady. I was going to slap him. I was going to put him in a headlock, but he's too tall, and that was a little over the top. So I slapped him on the ass like a sports thing. And he wasn't expecting it. And in character, he went, whoo! And he dropped his glass, and his glass fell 2 stories and shattered all over the floor. We went back to look at the playback, well, because he wanted to. It wasn't my insistence. And he went, and I could see he was like, oh, you fucker, you got me, because we're going to do another one. I said, okay, cool. So I could justify it, right? So I slapped him on the ass again. He didn't drop the flute this time, went back to look at the display, and he's like, yeah, we're going to do another one. And I could see a really determined look on his face. I don't know. I'm interpreting this. Maybe it's incorrect, but that's how I interpret it. So now I slap him on the ass, and he turns around and slaps me across the face. And I'm not expecting it. And now I go, fuck. Well, he shorted me out, just like I might have shorted him out. So we go back to look at the playback, and they said, hey, okay, well, we got to go because we're losing light, and the Jenny and the cherry picker, what is it? The Condor is losing hydraulics. And I said, I need one more. So he goes, okay, all right, we'll do one more. So after he slapped me, I hugged him, and we walked in, and we walked off the shot. So the justification from both of our points of view is me as this person who's this very macho guy, just slaps him on the ass, and him slapping me, to me, I justify as, hey, but come on, man, smarten up, don't cry, snap out of it. And I'm like, oh, thank you, and I hug him. His justification is, how dare you touch my ass? Who do you think you are? And he slaps me like a woman would, and it was wonderful. And it's a wonderful, wonderful story, and a story that I know that he'll remember and that I'll remember. So my dad says to me, how was work last night? I was in New Orleans. I said, oh, it's fantastic. He goes, well, what do you want to talk about it? I said, I just sparred with Bruce Lee and tied him because we were both totally locked in. And right after that scene is when I'd asked him, and he told me, no, ask the universe. Another time was with Duvall in We Own the Night, and there was like last 3 cameras on Robert, and it was this crazy where James kept saying, all right, now this time you're drunk. I want you to do it as drunk as you can. Okay, now this time I want you to do it where you're like just almost touching him, and I want your breath to be in his ear and your lips almost to touch his. And this time I went, and he went like all night, man. It went on and on and on. And he was going to do this patchwork thing. And every time I delivered what it was. And I think, I'm guessing, but between Tony Masante was there too. He's dead now, God bless him. He was the original Tony Rome back in the day. It was Joaquin and Duvall. And I think Joaquin saw everything that I brought. And I think he had some respect for him. I'm guessing he did. He probably doesn't give a shit about me. He's a great guy, but whatever. I like to believe as actor man that I did something nice and impressive or whatever. But who knows? I probably just did my job or whatever. So that day when my dad asked me, I said, I just sparred with Muhammad Ali. Because whatever Duvall gave me, I rolled with. Whatever I gave him, he rolled with. And it was a wonderful dance. And that's what it is. That's what 90% of it is. Far too often, there's no dance at all. None. You just do it. And so people who don't have experience do. You got to lock on. You got to ride each other. And that's what I like about it.
Wow.
It's a SpongeBob blink.
Bubbles.
Crazy stories, man.
Mom, look at bubbles.
I got a million of them, but I'd rather not talk about all of that stuff. How much time do we have left? Am I done? Can I be a guest in another exciting episode?
What?
Of course.
Bubbles.
You want to talk about the current situation?
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we can switch it up. So talk
We
about.
don't have to. It's your show, man. I'm just here, whatever
Just
you
wanted
want.
to warm it up a little bit, by just talking about you a little bit.
Well, we warmed it up. I burned the whole village down.
So what's going on in Florida? How is it going there as far as the COVID stuff?
It's pretty peaceful. From what I hear now, there's some resurgence of cases that have happened with the COVID-19. Some sort of, I don't know if it's because there are more tests being done, which I think it is, or it's because people have been exposed. I think if it truly was a thing that mattered, the Jacksonville opening, which happened months ago, should have been a huge spike in numbers, and that wasn't the case. I can't imagine why I can't sit on the beach in a stupid chair, but I can go to Walmart and I can go to every grocery store and get clogged up in a security line, just backed up with people farting and breathing all over me. It just, none of it made sense. But it makes sense if you look at it from a bigger picture. And I heard that Florida wasn't going to open its beaches unless every single beach opened its beaches at the same time, because no city wanted to be culpable. And they were worried about a litigious world where it was coronavirus, and Dr. said the beaches were safe. So everybody's covering their ass. But they also need to cover their collective municipality asses because they don't have their land. So a big spike in employment. Unemployment's dropped drastically. Most of those drops have come from people who have found jobs because they had to. Most of those people were in the restaurant and or service industries. Biggest decline in people coming back have been school teachers. And there was one other demographic. Said municipality plays. These people in cities, garbage workers, huge layoffs because the city doesn't have the money. What did New York lose? Billions of dollars? And you're either going to have to bump up the fares to keep the trains. It's just horrific, really horrific. And sadly, the minimal amount of percentage of people that were affected by it relative to the general population, I don't know if it warranted it, and that's a terribly selfish, non-Christian asshole thing to say to some degree. But, at the end of the day, so many people are really fucked right now, financially, really, really, really fucked, and nobody cares because
it's just that it's never. I mean, it happened before 100 years ago, and our generation now, this has never happened before. So it's kind of like, if they didn't take it this way, how else would they have done it? I know there's a lot of people that saying all kinds of like they should have done this, they should have done that. But at the end of the day, there was only one decision to be made at that time. You know what I mean?
Safest one, yeah.
Yeah. So in one way, this could have this prevented a lot of more deaths, a lot more cases that never happened because of this decision. But at the same time, it fucked a lot of people over, business wise and money wise, and so there's not really a perfect way to do it, right? Like
No, exactly. But it is a lesson to us all. I mean, New York is, I mean, I love New York. I've been staying there for the past 3 years at the expense of my family at home and trying to hit the home run out of the park there. And I've been somewhat successful at it, but nowhere near what but amazed by how tolerant New York is. I mean, and the boy, no one says, "Hey, get out of the subway, bro, and wipe yourself." No one, we'll just sit down next to you or give you that whole car by yourself. And there's a lot of poverty there. I mean, it's a wonderful mixing bowl of every possible demographic that you have, and to some degree you owe it to those people to help them. But if you're going to take homeless people that haven't taken a shower in a million years, who probably are carriers just because they've exposed themselves to everything, and or maybe immune because they're eating bread out of the garbage with rat piss on it, into a 4-star hotel because you got nowhere to place when I got to pay, you know what I mean? It creates a big chasm.
Yeah. That's weird.
So I don't know what the answer is, and I wouldn't want to be responsible for it. When we're in a similar position with policemen now.
Right. The way you see around the country is just crazy right now.
Yeah. And I just have to say that I'm worried about making any kind of statement on any of this because sound bites live, and I've seen people lose their whole careers over something that was taken out of context. But I play a lot of police officers. I've been through a lot of police protocols, and I'm going to say, like everybody else, it's a stereotypical, typical, stupid pat answer. There are assholes, and there are real serious people who take their jobs very, very seriously. Right. And so you got 2 kids, right, Red?
I have 1.
Mike, you got 2?
Yeah, I have 2.
Yeah. So you got 2 kids, and this is your job. And every day you go to work, you put on your flak jacket, and you walk out of the door not knowing what the world's going to bring to you or who's going to do what to you. And you go into neighborhood after neighborhood. In some neighborhoods you don't have to worry about. In some neighborhoods you do. Just what it is. And eventually, like a dog who knows who's going to pet him and who's going to abuse him, you burn in some weird stereotype and or behavior that protects you, that because all you want to do at the end of the day is come home and hug your kids, wake up. That's all you want to do. You're going to be seeing shit that you don't want anything to fucking do with. And I don't, and then you go, well, that's why you chose the job, then don't choose the job, is a terrible response. It's just an unempathetic job. Somebody's got to do that job. It's a sad job. And so these guys, frankly, are scared shitless, a lot of them.
Of course. Do you think that making it easier to be a police officer is a reason why there are a lot of bad cops out there? Because as of right now, all you have to have is basically a high school degree.
And you got to go through the academy. Yep. Well, they put you through the academy, which has its own protocols, and those protocols change on an ongoing.
Right, and it's 6 months, right? Is that how?
Yeah, but I mean, they are. It's a whole bunch of different people that come from many different mindsets. I can't say. I will say that I think it's unfortunate that, and I saw people, and I know people on the job that have said, I got a guy who can't run down the street, can't chase anybody up the stairs. I got a person who wouldn't fight anybody if his life depended on it, just freezes up. But those people still have a place. Maybe they're great detectives. Maybe they can unravel things. So they're kept on. But I think it's all driven by fear, and it's all potentially driven by disgust. So, and discussed that an ongoing behavior that happens every single day. That, geez, why? How many times do I have to deal with this same nonsense? How many times do you get to beat your wife and go outside and then come back in? And how many times do I have to arrest you for the same shit? You know, how empathetic am I to the wife who's getting beaten? You know, I might want to slap you around. So back in the day, in the 80s, a lot of cops were like, all right, look, you know what? You're an asshole, and I know you're an asshole, and you know you're an asshole. I'm going to take my belt off. I'm going to take my badge off, and I'm going to beat your fucking ass right here. Whoever wins, wins. Let's go. And nobody said shit. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be,
Right.
but I'm saying that there are far too many rights for far too many wrong people, sadly.
Right.
And then I saw a video just recently, and it was, it said, here's a protocol that I taught my son to follow because he's black. When you're approached by a car, take your hood off. Put your hands on the dashboard. Make sure you're the thing. If he asks you to do something, do it and say, yes, sir. Okay, well, that's common politeness. That doesn't mean just because you're black. It doesn't mean just because you're Asian or just because you're white or anything, that's what you should do. I mean, they are what they are. And there's an axiom in the academy, and I'm not speaking for all police officers because I'm not one officially, but I have family that all is, that it isn't a fair game. It isn't a fair playing field. As a police officer, I have the ability to amp it to the next level. It's free. It's my right. You want to draw a BB gun at me? I have no clue. I'll shoot you fucking now. You want to pull a knife? I'm not going to wait till you get closer. You're fucking dead. You want to resist arrest? Fuck you. I'm going to throw you to the ground and I'm going to throw you in the fucking car. It isn't like, sir, can you please? Sir, can you please? Keenan and Peele did a wonderful thing. Any of you guys? Am I still on?
Yeah,
Hello?
Key and Peele. No, I haven't seen it.
So there was a great skit. Look it up. And it shows one of them's a police officer. And he's standing there. He goes, get away from the car. And the other one looks at him like he's clearly stealing the car. And he's look like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to get away with the car. He goes, no, I mean it. Get away from the car. Get away from the car right now. And he like gets in the car. He goes, I'm serious. If you start that car, and the guy just drives off because the police officer is afraid to shoot him or afraid to stop him or afraid to do anything. And I think to some degree, that's kind of maybe where the world is. Now, a lot of cops are stupid. I can't imagine why they would kneel on somebody's neck for that long.
8 minutes, was it? 8 minutes or something?
Yes, for that long. But we can go in here. Every single person in the world, and this isn't a justification for any over-the-top behavior, but any single person in the world that we've been angry over has had a record, has had a history that the cops knew all day long about. This guy was wigged the fuck out on crack or coke. He had pulled a gun on a pregnant woman. He's got 15 priors. I don't know what the exact number, but a lot of it. Whether he knew them or not, they knew his rep. They said, get in the car, you're passing 20s. He's like, yo, man, it ain't a big deal, bro. Let me go. It's like, no, man, you passed 20s. I don't know if he passed them all day long, if he had a record of it. He resisted. And when he resisted with force, they took 2 or 3 guys. And now all bets are off. If they let him on, okay, you're cuffed, man. How many times could people have potentially gotten up and bit him? Who the fuck knows what they could have done? So again, I think based out of fear, the guy was on his neck. I don't think he meant to kill him at all. I think it was completely irresponsible for him. I don't think there's any reason in hell why they should have pushed that old guy down. I don't see there's any reason in hell why they should baton thing. I think what needs to happen is a complete across the board reform of police procedure. Across the board, not municipality by municipality, not race by race, across the fucking board. And I get, you know, a white guy can come out with nunchucks and come to a cop, will step back 3 or 4 times. If a black guy does it, they shoot him. That's unfair. But now you got to think about, why is that? Why is that way? Why are these people programmed so that they're afraid of the black man to the point where they shoot him? It's not about hate, I don't think. It might be, but I don't think so. Or and I'm talking about a law enforcement officer, or they let the white guy go. Maybe it's a cultural thing. They understand how that mind works. They all hunt together. They all this and that together. Maybe it's because, and it's not my point of view, but I've heard from many, many people, maybe it's because there's a common behavior that happens on an ongoing basis within those communities, where there's carjackings and police shootings and kids can't even go to school and gangs and all that stuff because of a variety of things, whether it's economic or social or parenting or whatever it is. But there's a continuum of that behavior that further propagates the myth and stereotype. And until that's fixed, whether it's globally or whether it's in-house by that own community, everyone's going to have the same thing. Are you going to walk down the street? This is a terribly racist. This is what somebody asked me. Anthony, you're going to walk down Martin Luther King in any fucking city you want to at 2 o'clock in the morning with the $100 bill in your pocket? And I have to say, no, I won't. Why? Because I know that the odds are someone may jack me. They could jack me in another place. Just the fact that I said Martin Luther King, many people will go, holy fuck, I was entertained by this guy on your podcast. Now he's a racist piece of shit. Because I'm pointing out something that I'm trying to be politically correct. It's not my opinion on, but anybody that does anything other than potentially coddle, and this has been said by many other people that I talk to, potentially coddle that behavior and empower it. Oh, that's okay. We were poor and we had slaves. We deserve this. No, man. You don't know. You look, if a president of the United States and CEOs and police captains and lieutenants all can be, regardless of what race there is, you can't play the race card. That's what many people believe. Not necessarily what I believe, but that's what many people believe. So because I talked about the bullying thing that I'm involved in, I have this page. It's Antoni Corone, Stop Bullying Now. I'm really concerned about these kids that are in school. And there's a lot of things that are happening. And I don't know if there's a global way to end that too. But what this has done, this whole race thing has done, again, for the billionth time, is prove that human beings, regardless of what we want, completely disagree on our approach to it and the reasons for it. And you can't talk to anybody and convince them that there's another version of it because they're entrenched in their own. They'll try to tell you yours. You'll try to tell them theirs. They'll call you a racist. They'll call you a bully, whatever. On my page, I have said to people, here's a kid who got choked and his eyes gouged out by some bullies. Happened on an ongoing basis. And the school system did nothing. And I put it up there and I say, please engage. Do you have any ideas? How can we get this to change? You know what I have to happen? Oh, that poor person. This has to stop.
Or, we know that. What are you going to do about it?
Or a little emoji thing.
Yeah.
Or thoughts and prayers. So you think you're doing something to help, and this is why I'm pro-protest. You think you're doing something to help because you're saying, oh, this is terrible, but you're not. And I'd say to them, are you motivated enough? Have you written a letter to your congressman? Have you started a petition? Have you gone to a PTA meeting? Do you understand the process? Have you made a police report? And if they say no, or if they don't respond, I'll say, why not? Guess who I am? You're the bully guy, and you're bullying me. You're telling me that I should this, and I'm not comfortable with that, and I can't win, man. I can't win. Nobody can win. These people who are with the Black Lives Matter had the purest intention, and I think sadly it backfired on them by calling it Black Lives Matter, because they got jacked by Antifa or somebody else who sprayed Black Lives Matter all over sacred shit to a lot of people and created a huge chasm in the community. That people from Arkansas who maybe drink beer and don't watch TV enough, goddamn, look what they did to that monument. Right. Wasn't them.
No, of course, yeah.
If they had called, they'd said mushrooms are great or whatever the fuck, and didn't make it racist. Not racist in, oh, I'm attacking you, but it is about race, so it's racist. Black Lives Matter. They could have never backfired on them. And now it has. And it has because you said Black Lives Matter, not like all lives matter. This is what people say, not again what I'm, please preface them. This is not my point of view. It is a point of view, and I'm trying to explore both sides of those points of view. If Black Lives matter to you to the point that you're disrupting me from getting home by lawfully standing on a freeway for hours, or torching my business, or your own business, or your own community, and Black Lives Matter, then fix the fucking Black lives in those communities that don't further propagate the stereotypes. That's what half of the United States thinks right now. And we're on the verge of a race war because people are entrenched. And maybe we've been programmed to believe that, you know, we need to stick up for the weak link. We do need to stick up for them. Back to the bullying, I think that's the case. As a community, we have to be completely intolerant of nonsense. Completely intolerant of nonsense. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Do you
It's
think
very,
that
very,
people that
very-
are, I think people that are using this, I'm sure that 99% of people that are out there protesting are peaceful, right? And we see
Yes.
them all, like we see videos of people peacefully protesting, peacefully asking for change in the criminal system as a whole, not necessarily just, you know, it started, of course, minorities are getting more abused by cops and stuff like that. We see that every day with videos, but the whole idea is the whole police system, how they train them and everything else.
Well, hold up. Let's
has to be
stop there just for a second.
Yes.
We see that being abused by cops, that minorities are. What is a minority? White is a minority right now demographically.
Let's say black people. Well, the ones that we have seen more last few years would say black people are being more abused. Not necessarily nobody else is getting abused. That's not the case. But the ones that are highlighted more and getting more proportionally more will be in the black community. But
And
the whole
guess
idea
what?
is
50% of the United States. I can't give that quote. A huge portion of the United States.
right.
And this is
The whole
this
idea
is a
is
fact.
the whole police, how police interacts with suspects, how police interacts with people needs to be rehalted. Like everything needs to be scrapped and try to train police officers on how to.
All day long. Every single person in the world agrees with. There was a meme that said,
That's
"Hey,
the whole
Minnesota, we
idea.
were all with you. We were all
Right.
with you until you fucked it up. Now we don't give a
There
shit."
are people infiltrating. We're using these
Yes.
people and then
Yes.
going destroying
Yes.
things
All
and
day long, and they're
just
doing it for a
stays
couple
away
of
from the
reasons.
message. And then now people talking about looting more than actual change
That's right.
that will help the whole.
There are bandwagon followers. There are people like, "Hey, man, what are you doing tonight?" I don't know. Let's say we got the T-shirt. We was in the 2020 riots, man. You know,
Right.
there was a lot of Klingon behavior with Kent State back when the person got shot right down the street from where I lived in Ohio. There, sadly, you know, I think sadly that we can speculate as to what it is and who's funding it and why it went that way. It could have been a bunch of Ku Klux Klan guys who just went, "Oh man, I can make people hate Black Lives Matter move all day long just by tagging them with a bunch of stuff." Could have been Soros, been anarchists, have been AFA, who knows what it was. But I seriously doubt that it was those people in the Black Lives Movement in majority. It may have been some that were, but somewhere along the line, the fact that you called it Black Lives Matter has backfired in your face. Again, no one could tag anything or blame it on anything if it had a name like that. It just created, I know what the message was, and it wasn't thought out well. If this was a corporate world, I guarantee that would not have been the name of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
And
sad.
it was
to see,
sabotaged.
you know what I mean? It's sad to see like we're just in these instances where everybody should stick together, you know, and unite and ask for change as a whole. And of course, you're gonna find people that are gonna take advantage of this and just make it.
So how long have you been in the United States, Fred?
11 years.
You here in 2011? I mean,
Yes.
2000. Yeah. So you're you know, Middle Eastern by heritage wise, right?
No, North Africa.
North
African.
Africa.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I've forgotten. Did you suffer any kind of bias towards you after the World Trade Center?
Yeah, when I came here, of course, yeah.
Yeah. And do you see how it felt, how odd that felt? And were you angry? Did you throw bottles and protest?
I didn't. I was, of course I was mad, but like I expected it. You know what I mean? I expected people would say racist stuff or stuff like that. Like it's not. When I came here, I knew what America was. I know what I expected it to happen at one point. So when it happened to me, I wasn't really surprised. Of course, it made me angry. Of course, it doesn't make racism as a when you get it when you are being when somebody's telling you all kinds of racist shit. In your mind, it doesn't make sense why. You know what I mean? Because I haven't done anything to this dude. I don't know who this guy is, and this person is yelling stuff at me or telling me all kinds of stuff. But when I came here, I knew it was going to happen eventually, so I wasn't surprised.
And how did your family react and all that? What was the general community? I mean, it was a terrible time too. I remember being on Broadway that night, and somebody that had a jitney cab had the flag upside down and got dragged out of his limousine and broke the car. And the guy was crying, "What? What? I love the United States." And I had to stop it. I got in the middle of it. I said, "What are you doing?" The guy had the flag upside down, clearly, whatever.
Right.
It's a lynch mob mindset.
Mm.
It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I came here in 2009, so of course, wait like years after 9/11. But I mean, there's always gonna find people that they're just waiting for opportunities to be racist, or waiting for opportunities to be bigots and all kinds of stuff. So it doesn't matter how many years after, they're still gonna find those people that are still holding on to hate. You know, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if you know you or they don't know you, if you're a good person or a bad person. They're gonna have that thought about you, and that's what happened to me when I came here. And pretty much every couple of years, I'll experience something. Sometimes just mild, you know what I mean. It's not direct, but you can still feel the energy from the other person. But you just learn to not everybody. You're gonna find bad people everywhere, you know. So it doesn't. If you let that hold you down, it's you're never gonna live. You're always gonna feel like you're being brought down when you should be looking up and looking forward, you know. But
What
Yeah.
do you think about the state of where we are? Do you think it's going to get rectified? Do you think it'll all work out? I mean, this is not the first time. We've
I
seen it
think-
over and over and over and
I
over.
think what gives me hope personally is young people. And young people now are more understanding of each other. Of course, you're gonna find bad apples, like I said, everywhere. Everywhere you're gonna find people that are bad. But what I see now is more young people are more understanding, and I think a huge part of it is because now we're allowed to communicate with each other better and faster. You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
you can talk to everybody anywhere in the world. You can do that 30, 40 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And that made us understand more about other cultures. We can obviously talk to other cultures now. Just open your phone and Google anything and can read about it. You know what I mean? So it's and I guess internet made everything. It made us closer. I would say.
Do you
maybe
think
that's-
also it's a generational thing? Do you think perhaps it's generational?
I think so. Yeah.
So
It's
here,
definitely
back
part
in
of
the 60s, when I was 10 years old, that's really when the civil rights movement started. There were all kinds of concessions made. And there were a lot of people who were adamantly against it, especially in the South.
Yeah.
You know, why should my daughter be sharing a school with the same kid who doesn't, I paid taxes for this school, I'm entitled to, and all of those kinds of things.
Right.
So busing came into play. Some people had lost their jobs because of affirmative action. Some people weren't able to get into college because of affirmative, and some people still believe that there was a million concessions made to help ease what was wrong a long time ago. What I'm saying is that's only not even 100 years ago.
right.
So those people whose parents were very racist have that seed in their head, and they're maybe more tolerant, maybe still racist. Their kids will see it, and I think maybe by 2 or 3 more generations, there won't be any.
That's the hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case. But there will always be some kind of thing that makes people angry over somebody that's different.
Right.
And when I was researching the bully stuff, look, here's the bottom line. We are organisms, and our job as organisms are to prosper and multiply. So whether you're a tree or whether you're a bird, the weak link in that litter is going to get picked on so that the strongest apex will continue forward. It has nothing to do with racism, but it has to do with differences. And so we as humans, true humans, not just people, but humans with empathy, owe it to the rest of us to make sure that we not coddle, but certainly take into consideration those that have a disadvantage. And on the other side, those with disadvantages shouldn't take advantage of that and expect it over and over and over again. Like people on my bully page would say, well, all you got to do is fight back. That's it. They'll stop instantly because bullies are, cowards. You got to fight back. Well, that's how drive-by shootings happen. That's how wars happen. What if you're in a wheelchair? What if you're Down syndrome? That's not the answer. You got to dig deeper. And I think the world is starting to dig deeper. But I think what they've done is everyone had to shovel. A bunch of people just threw their shovels down on the ground and started walking home. Fuck you guys, man. I'm not even bothering helping you. You're assholes like I always thought you were. And that's really, really sad because of the shit that's happened with riots and police being shot in the head and all that fucking shit. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
And people say, well, there's no reason for them to throw tear gas.
Yeah. Did you see the? Did you see what happened? Was it a couple days ago when there were protests in front of the White House?
With the National Guard?
Yeah, and was it Trump that had to like cross the road to go to the church and take a picture, and ended up like
holding the Bible backwards and upside down.
Huh?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's senseless and silly, but do you understand the bigger reason why he may have done that?
To me, it looked like a political stunt, but
well, Cosley was a political, so it was also a statement that was saying everybody from the other side of it was saying, "Here's your president. Here's your president that we believe started it by wearing a red hat that says you make America great again," like as though it's not. Here's your president hiding like a fucking pussy in a bunker someplace. You don't even have the balls to come out. So really, watch this. I'll fucking come out. I ain't gonna walk through all this shit and risk the most powerful position in the whole United States. So we had to have an escort. Now, I don't know why he went with the Bible. I don't know why he went to that church. I have no idea what his intentions were. It was
just have a reason, maybe just a reason to walk out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There were other people that I have, including some of my cousins, who were incensed over the fact that the National Guard was standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. How dare they? How dare they do that? How dare they stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and protect that building? We're protesting. We can do whatever we want, man. You can't
Were
stop
the people
us.
trying to do something to it?
No, they just put them there just in case. You brought the army in on your own people. So it goes right back to the whole. So when I did this movie called Brass Knuckles, I keep going back and forth between bullying, but I think this is all bullying. I think all this is exactly bullying, and I think systemic of kind of how it starts. What I tried to do is explore it from both different sides. The movie's called Brass Knuckles. You can see it on Vimeo. So if you type in Vimeo/Brass Knuckles, you'll see a 20-minute version. It's R-rated. Did you see it, by the way?
I did, yeah. It's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. And so what I would try to do is I tried to explore it from both sides. If this girl doesn't do anything and they try to go through the channels of power, maybe she could kill herself and die and hang herself, as it happens all the time. And if she does fight back, maybe her life changes for the worse that way too. What's the right answer? And I wanted to create a dialogue from that. I think that we really need to cater to our kids, and I really think we need to make our kids more empathetic. And I think now in this world that we're living in, both parents are working, and the kids. I think there's too much helicopter parenting. I'm not sure about participation trophies. I was coach for time, and there was a big meeting over the fact that everybody wasn't playing at the same amount in football this was about 8 years. And eventually they said, and you know what, you yell on the sideline, come on, Bobby, you know better than that. And it hurts their feelings and they're crushed. And I also praised them the same, great play, Bobby. So at the end of it, they said, do you have anything to say? I said, yes, I do. I quit. First of all, it's a volunteer thing. I quit. I have no kids in this team. I quit. I'm just doing it because I know the game and I love children, youth. And I said, but here's what I'm going to tell you. You sent these kids to play football with Oakley visors and super duper pro gloves on. They don't even know their right hand from their left hand. And if we all left and we had these kids pick up sides, somebody's Johnny's not going to get picked at all. And many of the Johnnies that get picked aren't ever going to see the ball. And so they get it. They see it. They know who has the skill and who doesn't have the skill. And it's something inbred with us. And if your son's not playing the amount of that you need, maybe this isn't a sport for him. Maybe find something better that he excels in or she excels in. But I think what we've done is we've maybe created a world where everybody's entitled to everything. Everybody's entitled to everything just because you're there. You just feel, I deserve this. I'm a human being. I deserve this. I deserve to be able to do whatever I choose. Fine. I sound like my father. I sound just like my father. I can't be. Man, he'd say to me, I feel sorry for your generation, man. You'll see. It's wow, wow, wow. I can't believe if that's going on right now. When I
What do
say
you
the
think? What do
same
you think is
thing.
going to happen? Or do you have any like ideas or
What's the end result of this current situation that we're in?
yeah?
They're going to throw some fucking meat to the lions and they're going to appease everything. They're going to fucking stagnate it across the board. They're going to have municipalities fighting with the police unions about protocols. And wow, it's going to get ugly and it's just going to drag on for a very, very long time. Right now, Buffalo, the whole department walked off. They pushed him to go. They pushed an old guy on the ground, cracked his head wide open.
Yeah,
No need to push the guy on the ground.
crazy.
25 guys walked off the job.
And they just left him there for a while. Like he said, he was bleeding, and you could see the blood coming out of him, and they just washed him. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And I don't know why, and I can't imagine why they would do that, and I don't understand it at all. And but I do understand some other things that I've seen, and it really boils down to non-compliance. So my son wears a hoodie, and my daughter wears a hoodie. And when the Trayvon Martin things happened, it was a chance for all parents, black and white, to have some sort of protocol discussions, because maybe we took advantage of it. The way it went down, hey, what are you doing here? None of your business, or whatever. And it escalated. I told my kids, if somebody asks you what you're doing, very first thing, take your hoodie off. I'm sorry, sir. My name is so-and-so. I live right down the street. My dad's name is this. Here's his phone number. Would have diffused it all. But so many kids now today think they don't have to show a policeman their ID. They don't have to comply to get out of the car. They don't have to do, you know what I mean? They just, I understand that there's profiling, and I understand that people get pulled over for the stupidest reasons. But I was a hippie in 1973, man. All you had to do was have long hair. Every single cop that went by thought I was smoking pot in my car, whether I was or wasn't. I didn't riot over it. I said, I get it. And maybe that's part of the problem. With other cultures, you take what you get. Whatever you did, you deserve it. My dad would beat me, the nuns would hit me in the hands with the rosary because I acted up in school. When my dad found out, he'd beat my ass at home. Now, my wife's a teacher. She can't even hold somebody back in a grade without going to a superintendent.
Right.
You can call and say, hey, your son's not really up to speed with whatever we're doing. But that's why he's in school. You're the teacher, teach him. There's not a lot of parent intervention sometimes. That's my crickets, my phone. This is my lovely wife. Can I talk to my wife for a second?
Yeah.
Hey, you're on a podcast. What's up? Yeah, it's all right, bye.
That was quick.
Yeah, I'm the man in the house. I'm the man in the house. I got this crazy story. I did a very, very terribly racist part in the Wu-Tang Clan saga.
Oh shit! Yeah,
It was horrific.
Yeah.
Oh
How
my
did
God,
that
so
come about?
horrific. Huh?
How did that come about?
How did that come about? Me being cast at it?
Yeah.
I read for it, and
Oh,
they
you
went, well, this guy looks like he's a racist or whatever. I have no idea. I have no idea how I got it, but I got it. It was a big national search, whatever. And I'm not going to bore you with it was just terrible. And before we did the scene, I said to the actors, I said, listen, I'm going to apologize right now for this. I didn't write it. I said, okay. They took us to the sound cart and they played the song that I lip synced to. And they made the whole crew hear it. And some people were in tears. Some people were like aghast. Wow, this is real? This actually happened? Yeah, stand-up comic back in the 60s did this routine. Unbelievable. That's sad. I feel so sorry for the guy. And at the end of it, I said, well, since I got hired to be this guy, I'm going to be this guy. I'm going balls out. Don't take it personally. No, bro, that's what you got to do. So I did. I did another movie from the same casting person that's coming out soon. I'm very proud of it, called The Sounds of Philadelphia with Matthias Schoenberg. Do you ever see any of his stuff? Matthias Schoenhardt? He
Probably.
did The Mustang. Man, this guy's as good as anybody. Really, he's a Belgian guy. Was a
Any
French
idea
production.
when or release?
I don't know now with coronavirus. So here's the story. So the casting director who hired me via self-tape said, we like this guy, very interesting guy. I'd like to meet him. Can we set up a general appointment for him? So I knew they saw me as this bigoted person because I read for it. I knew they saw me as this mafia guy because they wanted. So I had to go in and be something different. So to me, a general in a casting director's office is kind of like a psychology test, right? You got to go in there and be everything and be nothing and look every way and look no way and na, because that's what you want to do. You can't just be one thing. So I brought some flowers up and hi, how are you? And I tried to be so cute and I tried to be so wonderful and tried to be so charming. So how do you like New York? Oh my God, New York is great. I'm living in the Dominican Republic, more or less, which is Upper West Side. And it's difficult for me to get used to. It's pretty quiet in South Florida. And all I hear is salsa music on every stoop trying to outpay until 5 a.m. I have a hard time sleeping. Oh, okay. That led to, yeah. Do you have kids? Oh, yeah. I got, how many kids you got? I got 2 kids. They're teenagers. What do you got? I got toddlers. Oh, you don't have kids. Wait until you have kids. So me and my wife never argued over anything until we had kids that were teenagers. Really? Why? Yeah. Well, because I say, listen, you know, you're not going to have a car unless you have a job, and you're not going to have a job unless you get up earlier and go to work, and I'm not paying for anything, and so I would leave, and my wife would turn around and she'd say, don't tell your dad, and she'd give him the money. Don't tell your dad. And just offhandedly, I said, I don't know, maybe I should have beat her more before I married her. So I get back to the office, and I don't hear how wonderfully my general meeting went, and I still don't hear. And 2 days later, I get a call from my agent. He goes, hey, Aunt, I think you need to send an apology to the casting director. I'm like, what? Yeah. She's, you're on this very politically sensitive show, and she's worried that you're going to do something completely disruptive, and she put her ass on the line on your behalf. And I go, hey, bro, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. Well, did you say Dominicans were loud? And I went, are you fucking kidding me? I said, I live in a place where it's 90% Dominican, and traditionally the music is being played until, I said the music was loud all night long. Yeah, well, you know what? Her assistant is Puerto Rican. She took very much offense to that. Get the fuck out of here. No, man. He said, I don't know if you realize where you're at in the world, man. You're not, this isn't the 70s and the 80s. It's a whole nother world. You gotta be smarter than that. I said, Wow. So what do I do? Send more flowers, go grovel on her hands and knees, cry? What? No. But worse than that, you said you should beat your wife more.
Yeah.
It's fucking kidding. I was kidding. It was a joke. I was trying to be charming. Yeah, dude, you still don't get it, do you? You just pretty much killed all your chances with that casting person and maybe that network. Blew my mind. It really, truly blew my mind because I hadn't thought in terms of it. It wasn't malicious. I didn't see it as anything other than just trying to be fun, and I was insensitive to it. So the long story that I'm trying to get to is maybe that's where we all are. Maybe we're insensitive to all of it. Maybe our version we just justify in our own heads. And maybe if we try to look at it from a reverse point of view, like I did, I went, wow, okay, you're right. I get it. Jeez, oh man. And I wrote a letter. I said, hey, I'm very insensitive of me. I truly, truly, truly never thought it in those terms, or that it would be interpreted as anything like that. I said, I tell blonde jokes, and they're funny to me too. And I guess, do I need to be sorry about that? Maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe that's where we are as a world. Maybe on the other side of it. So when I was doing the bully thing, I had a guy call me, says, you know what? I was fat when I was a kid and I was bullied. And I had a bunch of people reach out to me. Like, I have not a degree, but I have a certificate in going through some protocols, psychology-wise. And he said, you know, and in a way, it benefited me because if I was fat and I realized I was fat, and in today's world, maybe the moms would say, "Oh, Georgie, you're not fat, poopy doopy. Here, have some ice cream, Georgie." And I might be dead by the time I'm 50 of coronary or have high blood pressure. But it angered me enough that I took action. But I'm fit, and now I get it. So um, maybe we're too sensitive also. I don't know the answer. I really, truly don't know the answer. But I think we need to explore it. I think we need to explore it intelligently and without uh, emotion, which is difficult. You have to remove yourself to be level headed and just really see the other person's point of view and take it into consideration before.
Do you
Maybe
think
that'll
media
make.
has a big role in twisting a lot of these uh, incidents that happened and to turn it, into like a fighting against each other instead of working with each other? You know what I mean? Like taking a stereotype
Yeah, well,
with it and
what it's going to take is a moratorium on nonsense, and that's never going to happen because there's always going to be an asshole. And do assholes know they're asshole? Probably not. If they did, they surely wouldn't choose to be one. And if
Right.
that's the case, wow, I might be an asshole too. So might you, and so might you. You know, just taking inventory. I think we were getting close until the looting and rioting happened. We would have been there way instantly over. I think we would have been close if the police hadn't pushed the old man down, or I think we would have been close if the innocent cops were shot behind the head just because they had a badge on. I I think there's open up something, and the world is a spokesperson. You also open up a lot of shit that's in that message. And if I wanted to, maybe you need to select group. I don't know. I don't know. I get mass anger, but I can see how mass anger can get hijacked. Mass passion can get hijacked and can disrupt the entire message. And I think that's where we are. I really do. I think there's nothing that anyone can say to anyone who's firmly entrenched that's going to make a difference. You can go on Facebook and you can try, and you watch the gang mentality. I could
Oh
read
yeah.
you a thread. I'd love to. I'd love to read you a thread of what happened with me yesterday, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, it seems like if you have a different view on something, the first thing they pin on you is not they, as in everybody. They say you're racist. They say if you have a different opinion, you're racist.
Yeah, like if you don't agree with it, well, yeah, or you're a bully or whatever, just like me. Like if I try to force you to see it a different way, you're bullying me. Don't be a bully. Yeah, or yeah, you're a racist. But and I'm not going to get into this, but so in New York, I can walk down the street and I can smell pot. I can get high just by walking down the street, man. Just by walking down the street, and I can hear, "Yo, man, I took that nigga, I threw that nigga right up against the wall. That white nigga, that freckle faced nigga, all day long." But if I say, "Hey, what's up, my nigga? What the fuck did you say?" So you want to clean it up, clean it up. Don't have double standards. We have double standards as white people. They have double standards as black people. There should be just people. And, if you haven't watched the Green Book, you should, because it shows what those people that were in that time frame had to go through on both sides. They had to go through because they had preconceived notions that their grandparents and parents brought down. You lived in New York. What are you doing in this neighborhood? Get the fuck out, or beat your ass. Or, this guy was a wonderful gentleman. Did you see it? Green Book?
I haven't seen it yet.
Viggo
I know what
Mortensen?
you're talking about. I haven't seen it. I haven't got a chance to actually see
You
it.
need to. It took place in the 60s. An unbelievably gifted jazz singer has to get driven around, can't stay in the same hotels. There were guys who were champion fighters, Joe Louis. There were Frankie Robinson, couldn't even stay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Frankie Robinson and Joe Louis, the sports figures, couldn't stay in the same hotel. They couldn't swim in the same pool. They couldn't drink from the same fountain. No reason. Stupid reason. I can't imagine in my million years how hard it would be to overcome that if your grandfather did that. It had to be passed down. I just went Hey, yeah, no, I'm sorry, you can't. It's just bizarre, and it's not about slavery, no more than it is about the Holocaust, no more than it is about the Irish slaves, no more than it was about the Chinese. Slaves were slaves in Africa. Watch Apocalypto. Way before the white man took this, it wasn't. It was the Dutch that did it, and the Civil War was all because yes, slavery was happening, but the slavery wanted to be there not necessarily for a human rights reason, but the North didn't want to pay $80 for a cotton shirt. And if they had to pay union wages to pick the cotton, much like we have immigrant workers right now, you don't want to pay $8 for an orange. So you have a non-documented immigrant come and pick the oranges. It's slavery too, to some degree. Again, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
But how about them Indians?
How about Indians? Oh.
Can't wear that anymore on the uniform. It's terribly racist.
They can't wear it?
You know that story, don't you? This uniform right here, that's outlawed. You can't wear this. The Major League Baseball said have on your hat that you've had since 1950. Got to go.
Is it because of the logo? It's portraying Indian in a bad way?
Because it's racist. Because it's Americans.
Is it because of portraying Indian in a bad way? Is that the
well
justification?
That's the interpretation from some activists that don't represent anything other than that point of view, and then a million people in Cleveland are like, "You got to be kidding me, man! We're going to change everything just for a handful of people? That's it?" And I went to a high school. My high school was the Willoughby South High, East Lake North, Willoughby South. And our uniforms, we were called the Rebels because it was the South High Rebels. South High, cute. Yeah, that's cute. His mascot's a rebel. He's got a uniform on. We got a rebel flag. We just represent that part of geography, not that part of history, not that hate, not anything other than just, hey, it's a cute uniform and it makes sense. We have a rebel flag on our helmet. We aren't in Tennessee, man. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. And the other side was the North High Rangers, and they were cowboys. I went back to watch a football game, and I said, "Wow, man, they got an S on their hat? Oh yeah, you can't have a rebel flag on your helmet no more, bro. You can't have a mascot like that either." I said, I guess I get it, but I don't think that's what it was about. I mean, you know, I see where it is now, but I don't think that's what the intention was when they named the school the South High Rebel. They had to burn all the stuff. They had to trash all the trophies, everything. The whole history of the school was gone because of it. And similarly, all of the statues of people who were great Americans who fought for something they believed in were torn down just because you catered to somebody who was very, very offended by it. I think you need to be more tolerant of stuff, not necessarily being abused by a cop. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Right.
Again, I'm old school. So to me, this is all foreign. I'm like, just like the lady said, yeah, you beat your wife. I'm just like, what? Get the fuck out of here. So
Maybe more
It should always be off limits.
beating your wife?
No, judging somebody by their comedy, like you should never judge someone for comedy. You should never have to apologize for a joke that you've said.
Yeah, but yeah, and that's kind of what I said. I was kidding, man. It was like, yeah, well, you weren't on the stage. You said that in somebody's office. If they were, and so by going, now I'm so neurotic, I'm afraid to even talk to motherfuckers. I'm afraid of what I said on this thing. It might backfire all fucking day. If I die tomorrow, I'll send a self-addressed. Rest in peace.
You want us to cut anything out?
No, you use your own discretion. I hope.
I don't cut anything. I just we put everything out as it is.
Yeah, no, it's good. What I'm hoping won't happen is that somebody won't lift the soundbite that's taken out of context.
Oh,
that's my concern.
Yeah, those people are just, they're always going to exist. Unfortunately, people that are just...
Yeah, but the upside to that is you're a meager, floundering little enterprise with 220 people. So I only got I say that in all love, man.
No,
saying it,
here's the
man.
thing. We drop this, it'll be like 600, but people are gonna be.
Yeah, hey, I hope so. And you know what? If and this is the big caveat here, if somehow my dialogue, maybe the message wasn't delivered in a perfect way, can open up some minds, I'm perfectly happy being the guy that carries that cross.
Right. As long as you start a conversation, right? That's what it's about.
Yeah, a civil conversation.
Right.
Yeah, something that I don't know if I get. Well, protest has to be disruptive because otherwise no one will take it seriously. I don't know. There's a guy that's driving a truck that needs to get paid by the mile, that needs to get back to where he does, and you block his whole thing, and he just wants to get to his job, and he goes forward, and you don't acquiesce. How's he fucking put in jail? Because you were protesting without a permit, shutting down an interstate. That to me is unfair.
I don't know, man.
That to a lot of people is unfair. Maybe you should have a call-in thing. Maybe you should have a.
We're thinking about doing it live so people can ask questions and stuff. But
Yeah, or maybe not a call-in thing, but maybe some kind of poll at the end of it. Okay, kids. So, how much of an asshole did you think he was? We're going to give an award for asshole guest of the week so far today in our little. It's Antoni Corone coming around. He's stretch ahead. In fact, let's just give it to him anyway. I love people, man. I really, really do. What I don't like is hypocrisy. I guess that's the bottom line. And
Right.
I'm not saying anyone's hypocrisy, but if you feel this way about this, then you need to feel that way about that too.
Right.
You have to take the whole thing into consideration.
Balance
and you
it.
have to be across the board. You can't alienate anybody. You need to be exactly what it is. Otherwise, don't be a hypocrite. If you say something, mean it. Mean it across the board. Mean it down the line, all the way to the least common denominator. Peel the onion back until it makes sense every way you look at it, or don't take a stance on it. Strangers in the night.
do you have any projects coming up beside the one you said?
I have a dentist appointment.
Oh, I mean, movie wise.
Are those all original teeth right there?
I'll bite your fucking ass for asking me. No, sir, they're not. I'm a hillbilly. I had some money. I replaced them. I had genetically bad teeth, man. And through sports, I'm half Irish, half Italian. Wow. Terrible teeth. And my parents amassed a little nest egg that we benefited from after their death by not taking our oral hygiene into consideration as much as they should. So they are...
I kind of want to scrap mine and just get all dentures because I'm tired of like the crookedness of them. And
why? Why you got a pretty mouth. You got a real pretty mouth.
Too young for that. Too young.
I have a tendency. I had a cardiac arrest when I was 36 years old. I woke up out of a coma. I thought I was fit. I mean, I burned the candle at both ends and all that stuff. But I think Jesus was getting a manicure by Mary up in heaven. Oh my God, look how many people are going to be mad at that joke. And hey, Anthony died in Florida. Yeah. Wait, who? No, fuck. No, that ain't going to happen. So I was able to pull through out of it. And I forget the moral of the story. We were talking about typhus.
Typhuses.
Yeah. Oh, but they said that or maybe somewhere along the line, my periodontal situation attributed a little bit to my heart situation.
Oh.
That's definitely why I would want to get rid of them because I have so many problems with my teeth. I'd rather just get something that's just I could put in my mouth and. Oh, that didn't sound right.
You know
did
that thing that you should say? I was just going to go there, but I was going to go in another direction. It's called a toothbrush.
Yeah, definitely.
So what I found is because I had all this work done, I have a tendency to collect plaque. That's what my DNA is. And part of the reason why I had a cardiac arrest is because my helpful cholesterol is very low, off the board low. And so I have to be really careful about what I do, and exercise doesn't bring it right. I can't take statins because they affect my muscularity. I mean, as far as pain, and I can't sleep right, and I get all anxious. So additionally, I collect plaque on my teeth, and I have to get a prophy cleaning every 3 every 3 months. But what I've found is if you can get a water pick and you can irrigate yourself with a solution of, let's say, 1/5 bleach and water, just like shoot it right up into those pockets, it'll eventually close all of that and kill all of those bacteria. Are you lactose intolerant?
I used to be. I used to, like, if I had macaroni and cheese, I'd be shitting like crazy. But
Yeah. Like if I have any kind of dairy at all, the next morning when I wake up, my tongue is like just so dry. And that is part of what, dryness also creates a lot of plaque problems. But yeah, there's a lot of dentists who won't go through with whatever you're submitting. It's against their ethics. Their job is to save the healthy tissue and not just yank them out at will. But my son has the same genetics, and he's anal about his oral hygiene. I mean, he flosses 4 times after every meal, brushes his teeth, uses Listerine. We never did. Maybe that's what What do your kids want to be when they grow up, Mikey?
My daughter has said a couple of things. First, she wanted to be a nurse. And we're trying to send her in that direction if she still wants to be one. I would love it
play
if
doctor with the kid next door.
Yeah, we do have some kids her age next door too. I'm kind of worried about that.
You homeschool her?
No, I mean right now we are just because of the circumstances, but
Right.
She's in first grade and she's passing.
That's wonderful. First grade. Do you read to her?
Yeah.
Is she a good reader?
Oh yeah, she's gonna be a great reader when she's already reading big words and comprehending the sentences, and
that's great.
She's really smart.
Do you have any Seth Silverstein books? Shel Silverstein books? Where the Sidewalk Ends and Light in the Attic and The Giving Tree and all of that. They're poetry, whimsical poetry.
No, it's that sounds like a good idea to read her poetry though.
And it's entertaining. This guy's an unbelievable artist. He's dead now. Shel Silverstein. I'll send you the link if you want to.
I'm just gonna write that down.
Yeah, you can. So he's on a Facebook page. He said one of his poems was, "Never mind the mustn'ts, child. Never mind the don'ts. Never mind the could-have-beens, the wannabes and won'ts. Listen very closely, child, but listen close to me. Anything can happen, baby. Anything can be." Isn't that fucking fantastic?
No, what's even more fantastic is your fucking memory, man. Like, you remember everything. I don't get it.
Well, I take peyote mushrooms and Geritol. No, I wish I had a better memory than that. I have a very vivid, descriptive memory. Yeah, I try. I couldn't remember. I when I was tripping, did I say that? Back in the 70s. I listened to Alice's Restaurant twice by Arlo Guthrie, whole album side. This is a story about Alice's Restaurant. It's not about Alice, it's about Alice's restaurant, inside the restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And I would say that entire soliloquy over and over and over again to my friends. It was a gift. Voices are a gift. And if somebody had told me a long time ago, hey, you're going to be an actor when you grow up, I'd be like, yeah, right. I can't imagine. There are so many people that I knew that were so much more free and talented than I was. I can't imagine. It just happened. And I'm blessed.
Let's see. Are you planning to go back to New York City here after the?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to go back to New York City when the world opens up and they figure out the protocols. I have a prediction with production. I think the ruins are going to get fucked. I mean, the unions. The unions are going to, I don't see how the unions, who true intentions are going to try to, protect their rank and file, are going to be in a position that it makes it production friendly. And I think with the exception of big shows and big, NBC, ABC, regular stuff, there's going to be a whole lot of indies that come out with minimal crews. I think craft service is done. And by the way, there's no reason why you need a fucking Sammy every 15 minutes or a candy bar. They're so overkill. It's retarded. There's no. I use retarded as a terrible word. I'm very sorry. Retarded means that it's stunted and hasn't fully developed. It doesn't mean anything other than that. And that's why I use that word as a qualifier. I also think there'll be small crews. I think that you may have to sign a waiver saying that you understand the risks you're taking if you decide to. So if you, me, and Mike wanted to do a show, I'd be all in. But we're going to have to make sure that we all are under the same understanding and we get it. We're going to try to follow whatever protocols it's going to be. And, it's just, I can't imagine crowd scenes. It may bring CGI more to the fore.
Right.
I just can't imagine. And I can't imagine it happening soon. I know it needs to happen soon. But I also will say I'm very entertained by watching reruns of Super Bowls and, World Series games. And I'm just as entertained by that as a brand new one. And there's a ton of stuff out there that could be watched. But this is a very bloated world we live in as far as our industry.
Yeah, I think
So much money wasted.
right. I think us slowing down too gave us a chance to catch up on a lot of stuff that we wouldn't, right? We're moving moving all the time, doing stuff all the time. You got a chance to actually like just
And I think, and I've said this before, I also think that the short form content is going to be the next big craze.
Yeah, I saw
Can't
that.
sit in a big theater and watch with yourself. I get streaming stuff like that, but I also think that somewhere along the line, while you're standing in line or in traffic or whatever, that 10 by 10 format, 10-minute, linear series watched on your handheld is going to be the next big craze. Quibi tried it. I don't know how they're doing. Their stock is doing terribly.
Yeah, the content, they have some big names attached, but like the actual content is not good. From what I tried to watch one of them and I couldn't get into it.
Did you watch the one with the that's the Glorious Bastards guy? What was his name?
No, but I want to watch that one. The one with the
we
German
both know
actor,
what we're
right?
talking about.
The German, I can't remember his name.
That's kind of what House of Cards was to Netflix, and 11/23/64 was to Hulu.
Hulu, yeah.
It's their. I think that's their springboard. But I think maybe if I wanted to make a move, and I'm so jaded by pitching stuff my whole life, if it was up to me and I had an unlimited amount of anything, I would create my own channel. I think what Quibi's done is they've charged a premium for nothing. I think I would give it away almost.
How much are they charging per month?
Like fucking as much as Netflix.
Oh, get out of here. Who's gonna do
They
that?
don't have shit on it, man. So somebody could easily come up, and there's a ton of people making content. I don't know how to figure out how to share the revenue source, but I think it would be easy to raise. There's some people that say that one out of every three movies, you are a winner if like a baseball player. 1 out of every 3 hits you can get in the Hall of Fame. 1 out of every 3 movies has to be a moneymaker. You could lose on 2, but 1 out of 3 it needs to be. And so people then say, if you don't have a $20 million movie, I'm not going to take you serious. If I had $20 million, I would make 10 movies. I would make 20 movies. I would make 40 movies. I'd make $4,500,000 movies. I would do them well. I would use non-names, perhaps. Names don't necessarily garner any kind of guarantee of any kind. Hundreds of movies that you could see in cutout bins with wonderful names attached to it that went nowhere. None, So people just want a well-crafted story told well, and there has to be some, way to vet it. And if we could find a way to get all those things on another platform, I would much rather raise the money for that than to make my own widget. Look at my widget. Can you see my widget? Do you like my widget? Can you share my widget? Fuck that shit. I'm over that.
I think even the Quibi, is that what they call it? Quibi?
Quibi, yeah.
Yeah, I think the actual idea is pretty good to have small content like that, but like charging that much is just crazy. Especially if you cater in, I'm assuming small production, not small production, but like short movies or short web series like that.
Limited.
Yeah, you're catering to young people for that, right? Because it's short projects that people are going to watch on their phone quick and then move on to the next thing.
Well, I'd like to submit that
no kid is going to pay $15 for it. You know what I mean?
no. What I would like to submit is that, yeah, you remember we talked about Mob King and all that stuff. We
Yeah.
were right on the cutting edge of that. And our version of that wasn't really to do anything except get quantifiable eyeballs. And those eyeballs then relate to potentially someone recognizing us and giving us a shot. That seems like that's kind of what's happening. But now it's been a long process. I think that that's the, and then I was asked to, I'm a judge occasionally on the international Emmys, and for the first time 3 years ago, they had short form. And I watched the top 4 entries that were being judged. And man, as well done as Game of Thrones, you couldn't tell that they weren't top shelf. Sadly, if you decide to do web series, now you're lumped into the same quagmire that you were back in the day when if you were using 16 millimeter, 8 millimeter shorts. You know what I mean? You're not taken seriously unless you're on 35 millimeter. And now because you're a web series, no, really, I got to sort through 5 million pieces of shit before I can get to one decent one. It's very difficult. And unless you have a relationship with a person who's an agent or a lawyer with the distribution company, no one's going to touch your content at all because they're so concerned about clear chain of title and being sued later on. And there's the rub. Nobody wants anybody to get into the baccarat table unless they deserve to be there. And certainly nobody in the union world is going to let a non-union director or a non-WGA writer or an actor do the same shit and make the same money as they are. It just can't happen. It just won't happen. It's just selfish. It could, it should, but it may, you know. I think there's going to be a big perimeter to block it from happening. That's just my view.
Do you think that independent filmmaking is going to take over online with the style of Quibi in the future? Just with better marketing and better.
Well, I think if you preface independent with quality, yes, I do.
Right.
But I also, you know, have seen a lot of people, my kids included, who will watch YouTube and just be entertained by 2-minute things about Mother Nature. You know, the reason why longevity is because I drink dog piss. And she's got an apparatus. Do you ever see this chick? She's got 1 million hits. Yeah, 1 million hits. She's a millionaire. She's got all kinds of people.
But they go for shocker value, right? Like you go for something shocking.
The more stupid you are, the more goofy you are. Here we're trying to make art, and no one cares, man.
Yeah.
These kids just want to chuckle. Oh, look at this! Look at this retard! Look at this kid! Look at this! Look at this happen! Oh my God! Do you believe he made a snowman out of dog shit? What? You know, that's all they care about. And you know, a clever person is just going to monopolize that.
Yeah, well, that's what we see, like apps like TikTok and what's that the kids use, and there's a lot of them are just people being stupid, and they're making good money from being stupid.
Because it's all about eyeballs, man.
Right.
And it's all about that demographic. And sadly, my demographic, maybe your demographic is still valid, but my demographic of, you know, over 40 or whatever, there's not a lot of stuff catered to us, and maybe we don't care about it. We want to watch the traditional stuff. So I don't even know what the formula is. I don't know if the horror comes first, or rom-coms comes first, or tween movies come first, or comedy comes first, or no idea. I don't think anybody does. I think it's a whole brand new world.
Yeah, I think we're definitely in a change right now. That's happening.
Can I say here on this podcasto that I met you guys in New York at a film festival with what I consider to be a kick-ass movie. I love that movie. It was so unbelievably well shot and so unbelievably well acted, and the guy who was the lead in it was fantastic. And aside from the 2 cops, it was stellar.
Thanks, man.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know.
Melancholia.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm talking about it was an inside joke, the 2 cops thing.
Oh yeah. And they slapped each other on the ass.
Yeah, exactly. It was an unbelievable movie. Unbelievable. And I said to you right then, hey, whatever you guys do, I'm in.
Yeah, we're definitely planning some things, and of course you can't do nothing right now. So
no, you can. Who's going to stop you?
I mean, who's gonna come and work. That's the thing. Like no, a
Yeah,
lot of
you'd be
people are-
surprised. You'd be surprised. Look, here's the reality of it, Red. I think that everybody in this business is in this business because they love being in this business. Okay. And I think the money is a secondary to it. Now, I know that people have to make Mike, you want to buy a new camera, and I know that your equipment costs money. Every time you leave the house, at the expense of a babysitter or whatever. But at the end of the day, there's a bunch of people who want a chance to make their bones. Great DPs, great whatevers, great sound guys that just want to work, just want to be in the mix, that see this as a way to, when the things change, to be in the game. And I think you're wrong there. I think there's a lot of people that'll show up.
We'll try it out. We're talking some stuff out. We'll see if we move forward and see what happens. I guess.
Yeah, I think you just got to keep making content, man, because the world wants content. They're gonna sit down and wait for it. Do you subscribe to the business KCRW out of Santa Monica? It's a podcast.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty
Right.
insightful.
Is it good?
I think so. Yeah, the business. It's a half hour. Lynn Masterson, who was the editor of Hollywood Reporter, basically is her thing. She talks about
Check it out.
trends, and then she has a guest on, and they talk about stuff.
I'll check it out. It sounds fun.
Yeah, what do you think we need to make this podcast interesting for people? Like, just do what we're doing right now, or is there something that you think
You
we
need to
should?
have better guests than me.
Yeah.
I know. I think you're doing great, man. I really do.
Yeah, we're just testing the waters and see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You can speculate, test the water. Maybe you should do one of those. Who's that Mad Money dude? Where you got the zingy dingers there. You press the. You know what I'm talking about? Check him out. He's on the CSNBC or something. Mad Money. Guy was a Mad Money stockbroker. He rolls his sleeve up and he's a really over the top character. He's got these kooky sound effects and shit, but he makes a lot of sense. Who's the most popular guy in podcasting? Isn't it Adam Carolla?
Rogan,
One of them. Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Rogan is, I think now.
Joe Rogan, Carolla, and who was Mall Clerks or Clerks? What's him?
Kevin Smith.
Smith.
Oh, Kevin.
Mr. King. Yeah, he's got his
Yeah.
own distribution channel for him.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but this certainly keeps your creative juices flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Who edits, you or Mike? Both you guys?
Yeah, we try to alternate a little bit.
What do you use? What are you guys recording on?
Well, I'm recording just using Zoom right now until we
Right.
try to figure something out.
And then what do you download it onto, like
Well, it saves it.
Ableton or
Saves it in the
Odyssey?
computer, and then we basically use Premiere and Studio One to actually edit
Got
the
it.
audio and video components of it.
Is it a pain in the ass doing one with video and audio?
I mean, not really. The audio is really fast because it's just the audio.
So do you do the track first, or do you do it all at one time? Pin audio to the playhead and video to the play, so it stays in sync.
Well, it records how it does it in Zoom. It records it audio, video, and as an MP4, and then it records it in audio separate. So you have two files.
Right.
So I added the audio for it to go to Spotify and all the podcast channel apps, and then I edit the video and audio together to be on YouTube and Facebook.
And how many have you made?
So far, I think this is like the 8th episode last year.
Okay, so and do you have more success with the audio version or the video version, or is it equal? Do you think?
The
Eyeballs-wise.
Facebook version.
Yeah, Facebook. I think we're getting more views there. Audio hasn't taken off yet, but of course it'll take time because some people would rather watch it. Some people would rather listen to it.
Do you have an intro?
There and see. No, just some music, and then we'll go straight to it.
Yeah, maybe you should come up with a clever. Hey, from the depths of Here Comes Nobody, right out of my asshole. It's Diary of the Mouth.
How about you record one for us, man? I'll gladly use
I mean,
it.
I
if you do
could,
that.
but I just think you should come up with a concept and some cool music and stuff that's catchy. Like maybe
Yeah,
a
that'd be cool.
15-second lead in. And so also what I've found with podcasts is there's a booster, like with Facebook. If you pay, You can.
Yeah, I've been
boost-
using that. I've used that a couple times. Yeah.
How much does it cost? Does it cost?
You can choose whatever you want, however you want it to cost.
Right.
You choose the
Yeah.
amount.
And have you courted any advertisers of any kind?
For audio, we have one.
Yeah. Who? What?
It's Anchor. It's the same.
Anchor.
Yeah.
I love Anchor.
Yeah. We're in there. We're the sponsor for us.
See what I'm doing there? I'm
Yeah.
Right here in this
Oh,
one.
I thought you're a good actor. Actually bought it. You see what happened?
Oh. Well, you should maybe talk about Anchor. What is Anchor? What? Gee, what? What is Anchor, Mike?
Anchor is
Tell me about
basically a website that helps you distribute your podcast in audio form. So like it puts it in Spotify and all kinds of apps for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many hours do you put into this?
Like to record and everything.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I mean, the recording. I mean, depends on how many hours we talk, and then the edit is not really much because I don't edit anything out. I just dump it in there, cut the ends out, and then add some music in the front and in the back, and that's it. I export it and we're ready to go.
Exporting takes forever.
Exporting
I'm
takes a long
sure.
time because it's long. It's
I'm
a few
sure.
hours.
Can you do me a favor and put links to Brass Knuckles? And,
I do, yeah. So what I
my
do basically, I add the guests' info, like the website or whatever they want me to add. I can add it. I add it usually on the side there for people to go check it out.
Yeah, just so I can steer people to the bully page.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, well, I've been pinning your ear for 2 minutes and 20 seconds, man. Seems like time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
This is probably our longest one.
Yeah, it's our longest
That's
one.
what she said on the honeymoon. Yuck. I love you guys
Man, you too, man. Thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
over.
definitely, man.
Appreciate
all
you.
day long, guys. Hey, listen, anytime you want me to, fill in for whoever else you don't got, or if you want another version of it, I'd be happy to be on board.
Well, of course, we'll definitely hit you up again if that's the case.
Please do. Stay safe and let's figure out this world bullshit, man.
You too, man.
For everybody's sake, for your kids' sake too. Jeez,
Yeah, let us know
man.
when you come into New York. Maybe we can schedule something.
Yeah, I'm thinking about coming in September.
Okay.
Probably around August, right after school starts, when my wife goes back to school. Maybe, when the weather starts turning cool again. And just my luck, I'll walk right in and catch the new version of the coronavirus because I'm prone to catching that yearly flu kind of thing. Goes right to my lungs. But whatever. You only live once. I also thought about an early retirement, tell you the truth. Just take early
Go
Social
fishing
Security, early
all year
retirement. Go,
long, that'd be-
that's it, baby. It was fine. If somehow I get to work, I get to work. If not, whatever. It was fun. I tried, Yeah.
I mean, you're successful, man. You tried and succeeded. That's what you should say.
I sustained a living. I eked out a living. Yes. The work itself, I think I'm pretty proud of. Maybe not my earlier stuff, but my later stuff, I think I'm competent. I'm not embarrassed by it. Yeah. So whatevs. Whatevs. Free money.
Exactly. Yeah. More to come, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what it is going to be. That's what Jim says. Whatever it's going to be is going to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Believe that. I love you, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Love you, man.
Bye-bye. See you, Mike.
See you,
Don't buy
man.
the new camera. You could do great. I'm going to tell you what I told my son when he wanted a graphite stick that cost $250 or an aluminum bat that had to get rolled, a Mizzato. I said, Babe Ruth hit it with a wooden bat. It isn't about the equipment. It's about how you manipulate shit. People 10 years ago are making kick-ass shit with equipment that was state-of-the-art. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You don't need state-of-the-art. It's all up to the eye. You can either be Paul McCartney and the Beatles or Ringo Starr. And you, my boy, are Paul McCartney. You. You're gifted. I think you are. I really do.
Thanks, man.
I'll say that to him, man. He knows.
No, he knows. You know, too. You both know. You're both gifted. Well, you're kind of gifted. No, I'm a fan. God bless you guys.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Take it. Bye-bye.